Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to make this fall inspired envelope. I am recording this intro after I already had finished the project. I already had recorded an intro before starting it, but something messed up and the recording wasn't good, so I had to film it again with the project already finished, and that's why you're maybe going to see some things that are weird, like my nails have changed. But yeah, so in this video, this is my first project for this year. For fall, obviously, and I'm definitely going to make more fall projects. For now, I wanted to do an envelope because I love making this envelope. For this project, I'm going to use all new supplies, mostly new supplies. I used a new stamp set that I got. I used my brand new Aquamarkers. Lately I bought a whole bunch of Aquamarkers, which are these markers who mixed with water, activated with water, they have a watercolor effect. And I also used some new papers, and as well as this die cut, which is not new, but I never used it in a project before. So yeah, let's get crafting. And so this is gonna be my card base. So I'm going to cut this a little bit shorter. And cut the edges, of course, because you know. So now what I want to do here is, you see this stamp here, it has a sort of like a lining, and you can see that I've almost cut my paper the same size as this stamp, and I did it because of this stamp here that I wanted to use on the edges of this base here, so it fits quite nicely. And so I'm gonna use this stamp here to decorate the edges of this card. I want to stamp, of course, this on the very edges of this paper, but I don't like that it reaches this, because I also want to stamp it on this edge, and then the two stamping will meet. And so what I thought of doing is I will grab a piece of scrap paper and sort of rip it. It has to be quite wide. I'm just gonna rip it. It's just a piece of scrap paper, and when I stamp it, I'm going to position it like this, so I can have a sort of mask, so my stamp doesn't reach this edge of the paper. Okay, so I did my stamping. I did go a little bit over the other stamping here and there, but still quite like how it looks. For my decoration, I'm going to use the rest of the stamps here. You can see there's a lot of flowers. You can also compose the flowers. There's a stem here, and then there are some flowers, some leaves. You can sort of mix and match the flowers together. And I'm going to use these, but this time I'm going to color them with, you guessed it, the aqua markers. Now, these aqua markers do not like any paper that it's not watercolor paper. I've tried them on plain paper, I've tried them on thick cardstock. They don't like it. They don't work properly. I even tried it on craft cardstock. It doesn't like the craft cardstock. It only likes watercolor paper. And so of course I'm going to use watercolor paper to stamp my images. Okay, so here I have a piece of watercolor paper, and now I'm going to stamp a bunch of these elements, again with black ink. Okay, so I've colored all of my stamped images. I did cut a little bit of the coloring from the video because it was quite of a long process. But this is how they ended up looking, and now I have just to cut them out and we can move on to decorating our envelope. Okay, so I fussy cut all of my images, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use them to create a circular frame with this on top of my card piece, and then I will do the envelope as the last step. First I want to decorate this one, and to do that I thought about giving myself a little guide, meaning that I will be cutting out a sort of circular frame out of some scrap cardboard and glue these pieces on top of that, because I want to have a perfect circle, obviously, and I fear that if I try to do it without any guide, it will look a little wonky, and so that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so with a piece of scrap cardboard, I cut out a circle, and then I'm going to use a circular die cut to transform it into a frame. And now I will be gluing down all of my fussy cut flowers, and I did ink all of them up, and I also added some little square foam tape to give it a dimensional look. I really wanted this decoration to have an extremely dimensional look, as well as looking very rich and clustered as well. And so I just glued them down in a composition. And I did end up with some leftover flowers, but later on I will be using them to further add a little detail on my envelope. So now that I'm done with the wreath, I want to add in the center of the wreath this die cut little fairy. I just used a regular die cut with some purple cardstock, and now I'm inking her up.
now I'm going to create the envelope. This envelope is going to be a little bigger than my usual envelopes. I got this bigger piece of paper. Unfortunately, I don't know the measurements of it. I just had it and it was big enough to create the envelope, but I did score for the lateral flaps. I scored one side at 9 and the other at 8.5, and for the top and the bottom flap I scored one side at 4 centimeters and the other at 5 centimeters, so the card can fit nicely in the center of the envelope. And now I'm just cutting out the excess corners to actually create the envelope shape. And then I decided, of course, to decorate the envelope with the same stamps that I used on my card, and to create the wreath. I used quite the same flowers because, of course, I wanted them to match. At this point, I decided, of course, that my envelope base was lacking a little bit of color, although I did like the neutral look of it. And I wanted to add some splatters, some color that matched the color of the card. And so I decided to use this metallic watercolor paint to splatter it. It's a purple metallic. It's absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if you can see it on camera. When I'm going to give you a close-up, you're probably going to see it better. But it's just a really nice shade of purple that perfectly matches the color of the fairy. And now I'm just inking up the edges of my envelope because, of course, I'm creating a vintage look. So obviously it needs to be inked up. And now I'm just gluing down the card in the center of the envelope. I used a mix of foam tape and a little bit of cardboard as well. And now I'm gluing up the envelope flaps to actually create the envelope. So the last step was to create a closure for the envelope. I always do it. And to do that, I decided to grab a scrap piece of paper, the same paper that I used to create the envelope base, and glue it so I can fit the flap inside of it. Then I decorated it with the leftover flowers that I had made to create the decoration. Okay, so I have completed my envelope. This is how it looks.
You can see here, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but the watercolors I used have a really nice shimmer. I used to splatter. It's a beautiful color. This is the closure. You can open it up, and it's an envelope where you can put, you know, a greeting card, or I have a greeting card here. Let me see if I can find it. It's a greeting card that I've done for Christmas. It's a pop-up card. Yeah, I've been doing these cards for Christmas. I've been doing them off camera because, I feel like they are so easy that they don't really need any explanation. But I have been having a lot of fun, and this is quite small, but you can use a bigger card if you have one, and it just fits here. Maybe you can, this is a bigger size envelope than the ones that I usually do, which are much smaller. So this one can even fit like even a book, really. I mean, if you think about it, even a sort of like, I have this little guide that came out of my scoring board, and it fits here, so you can even put something bigger in it. And it doesn't fit in height, but it definitely fits in width. So that's why I love making these envelopes like this. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider liking, subscribing to my channel, leave a comment down below, let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!